Good morning, Laura. You can unmute yourself. And
Yes, I did. Should I start?
thank you.
Okay. Hello, everybody. If I'm looking over here, it's because I have a bunch of notes. And so, anyway, for a couple people maybe who don't know, my name is Laura Leever, and I live in Noyak, and I teach Spanish at Shelter Island School. And I actually looked to see if I had any notes from the last time I spoke, and I do. And it was on August 22nd of 2010. So 10 years and 8 days ago. Um, and it brought back happy memories just to kind of see that date. It was at the North Sea Community House. And anyway, so I reflected back to the time when we started with Nick reading Maggie's notes at Joshua's place. And then we got Scott DeMarco as our first reverend. And I just remember hearing him telling truths of New Thought. And I couldn't believe how beautiful they were. And I would just cry every time he would tell us the truth, of the reality that we live in, the capital R reality. And so, little by slowly, I am I don't know believing these truths as opposed to, the small t truth that I was taught and grew up in and stuff like that. So just a couple quick things, like truth is like, I'm a teacher, so it's like, what's, truth, principle, reality, divine mind, spirit, all that is, God. A couple things Mavis said when she spoke: truth is the divine emancipator, the unchanging reality, that which was, that which is right now, and that which will always be. And I just really resonate with all of that. I remember as I was learning about New Thought, some quick things I can always retrieve from my mind. There is one power, there's a power for good in the universe, and I can use it. I am one with that power. As Nick was saying, God moves through me, God is in me, as me. And Reverend Scott DeMarco told us, God is light, life, light, power, peace, beauty, and joy. And therefore, I am that. I am all those things, and so are you. And during the meditation, it was very nice because, I'm a human being. I get nervous and ego, and how's this going to go? And I just focused on being in the moment with you all and knowing that you are all that, and all the things that my ego mind wants to say that is scary or whatever is not true, and so and as someone said during this month, I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. And I imagine that my human experience is pretty typical, filled with angst and fear and nervousness and ego and judgment and all kinds of things. I don't know it was not my human existence. There's been a lot of good stuff, but mostly it's not been a long-lasting, peaceful experience. And a lot of shame and guilt. And I mean, I grew up in a family, I grew up in a culture, we were all very committed to just this human plane. And living in this human existence was the only reality, even though we went to church on Sundays, and that was good for the hour we were at church. But then, we reverted back to right, wrong, winning, losing, better than, less than, mistakes, all that kind of thing. Feeling bad about yourself. Anyway, so, and then I decided early on, that it wasn't safe to express myself. It just wasn't safe. And so I stopped expressing myself. And then I did the best I could, and I did pretty well on the outer levels of, I have a lot to be grateful for, just on these human terms and whatnot. But then, and medicating myself with various things. And even beyond that, though, there still was that God self that kept pushing for expression. And that's when I could finally start learning a language for all this, and learning this new truth and this other reality, this spiritual reality, my spiritual beingness, which is really what I have a longing for. And it's where I find peace, and it's where I want to live from and express from, and be my human self on the basis of my spiritual truth. I've been reading so much from the literature, and this specifically, this thing called You, Ernest Holmes, is so amazing. And I have like 20 pages I could read to you. I don't have the time. I'll read a couple things, because speaking of this human existence, which has been so problematic for me, and somehow I got the idea, the error thinking that good joy and feeling good was something to be ashamed of or guilty about, or that it was taking away from someone else. Anyway, page 1 of this thing called You. You, like all others, are seeking the joy of living. You wish to be needed, to be loved, to be included in the great drama of life. This urge is in every individual. It is in everything. Everything in nature is endowed with this creative urge. It is impossible to escape this creative urge. Everything must find fulfillment or perish. And I'm going to read this part from page 4. You are to believe with utmost simplicity and with complete faith that there is a pattern of your being, or a real spirit of you, which is as eternal as God, as indestructible as reality, and as changeless as truth. This pattern is seeking to manifest through you. Back of it all, the will and purpose of the universe, all the irresistible laws of being. Finally, it will win. It is because it is there that you have these irresistible urges, the longing to live more fully, the feeling that life belongs to you. There is something within you beyond all doubt and fear, something which has never been limited by your acts or destroyed by your feeling. This is the only something that can make you whole. And that's a truth that feels right in me. And it's a truth that gives me peace. And when I mean, I just go back and forth living between these two planes. And I'm that bondage of self, you know, and the truth, know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So I can still get bonded to the error thinking and the human way of thinking that this is the only existence, and problems and complaining about this and COVID and work and noise, and I get so tired, and that's, sometimes I have to get so tired. Other times I am much more like accustomed to just sitting every day and meditating. And I just sit and I go to God. I mean, knowing that I am God, God is me. And I find that peace, you know, beyond all understanding. And I find that spiritual me, the God that is me, that is love. I can feel it in those minutes of meditating, and that's all that I want. I'm totally complete, you know, as I'm perfect, whole, and complete in knowing my godness and knowing my goodness. And what's interesting, amazing, not so amazing is then, as I know myself as an expression of God in those minutes of meditating, then as I come out of meditation, that completely changes my perspective on how I can move as a human being on this human plane. Now, question is how long that perspective lasts and persists. You know, sometimes a minute, sometimes a whole day or a whole week, whatever it might be. It depends on how much I can remember the truth of who I really am. Some speakers were talking about, you know, bringing this truth, these spiritual truths. Now, excuse me, that's my timer. I should wrap up, right, Joe, Nick?
Finish what you have to say.
Okay, so it's like what it's been said in this month, you know, just finding that peace and joy is not the end. Then that's the discovery. And now it's like demonstrating it in this human existence. And I'll just share, I think I did before during, you know, another week, the most immediate way, and as I'm anticipating it going back to school in person, I did it at the beginning of last school year. And because I believe it. It's true for me, knowing what I know of these spiritual truths, that when I go to school, the most important job I have to do is not to teach them Spanish. The most important job I have to do is to express to them through my actions and my words that they are important in this life, and they're valuable, and they are of worth, that they deserve every good thing, and that they have gifts that the world needs. And I told them all this and more the very first day of school. And I keep reminding them. And I can see that for some kids, that's really hard to hear. I would have been one of those kids at that age. But that is my plan again. I mean, that feels like a mission, and something I can do is to to these children and to people in the grocery store with a smile or a kind gesture. Anyway, so that's it. I thank you for this opportunity. It's given me a great reason to start reading this literature again, and it's really very inspiring, this thing called you. And you know, it's like anything is possible. Everything is possible. There are no limits. Anything I can think of, I can achieve. And that's really good news. So thank you very much.